Hey, good day to you all. Happy fantastic Friday. Y'all know this is the time that we take to thank our men and women who are serving our nation around the world, sacrificing, committing their time and their freedom, and protecting our Constitution, our freedom, and our way of life. We thank you and we salute you. We wish you a safe journey back home to your friends, family, and loved ones, wherever that may be. And oh, by the way, enjoy that 1776 bonus that you're getting. Hey, well deserved, guys. But hey, seriously, we got a very special guest with us today. Y'all know who he is, and but for the newer folks, the new audience that I garnered, that since he was on last, we have none other than Michael Letts, and he is the founder and president and CEO of InVest USA, a national grassroots nonprofit organization that is helping hundreds of communities provide thousands of bulletproof vests for their police forces through educational, public relations, sponsorship, and fundraising programs. As of June 2023, more than 13,520 concealable and active shooter vests have been distributed to police officers throughout the United States and globally as a result of his leadership and passion. The organization's efforts have helped police officers from areas devastated by Hurricane Katrina to nations such as Nicaragua and Mexico. Michael resides in Columbia, South Carolina with his loving wife and partner, Karen. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing some and presenting to others, Michael Letts. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Oh, let me get you over.
Well, good morning, Randy. It's always a privilege to be with you. And we thank you for the opportunity. And most importantly, we thank you for what you do. You know, if we're going to save this nation, people have to know the truth. They won't know it without you, Randy. You're a vital part. Thank you for your willingness to step up and serve.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Mike, tell us what you've been up to the last couple months.
And we have got so many things going on. It's hard for me to keep track from day to day, but I'll give you a few of them. We have a movie being produced now. Actually, I'm in it. We have it's a movie. I say a movie. It's got some of the most named, recognized directors in the country that are doing it. Some of the most named actors. You'll recognize every one of them because they're all in blockbuster movies over the generations. And believe it or not, they're going to actually have me in the movie. But what it's about is it is about the debacle of the withdrawal in Afghanistan. We had to send in some teams, covert action, to pull some of our people out who were left behind. And you won't want to miss this one. I think this is going to be one of the biggest blockbusters that's been around in decades, probably.
Awesome. And, congratulations. When are we anticipating that this movie will be released?
And we'll start filming here in the 1st of January. You know, in the old days, it took you a couple years to get a movie produced. Yeah. Now you can do it in 6 months with all the technology. I mean, in the old days, we had to travel to all the locations, shoot on location. Now you go into a warehouse and you shoot, and they put everything behind you on the green screens, and it looks like you're there. So we anticipate probably will be coming out this summer.
Okay, awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing that because the Afghan withdrawal was horrendous, and we're reeling the results of that right now with these 18,000 known terrorists that's got led into the United States and everything else, and all these attacks that's going on right now. And people are saying, "Oh, these are just lone wolf attacks." No, these are not lone wolf attacks, ladies and gentlemen. These folks are planning and they're designating who's going to carry out the attack and where. It's not a lone wolf thing, and that's the misnomer that's out there right now. Is that this is just random stuff. No, this is well planned, folks. This is not anything that's like, somebody just woke up and they were just radicalized. Yeah, no, miss me with that. I've been 3 tours of Iraq. I know what a lone wolf attack looks like. You do have those.
Exactly.
But these are planned, and they're executing this stuff flawlessly. In my opinion, because they're getting away with it. They're doing it. They're executing it, and they're getting away with it. And I want to touch.
It's interesting, Randy. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's two combinations. What do I mean by two combinations? You got what we call the deep state, i.e. the financiers, the Soroses, and that's just one, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, etc., who have been planning this, for generations, how to bring America down. Yeah. We're the last bastion of freedom, and it's a big thorn in their side. But, you can put all the money you want to with it, but you've also got to have some manpower. Yeah. So where do they get the manpower from? And they've been doing this for decades, planning Who hates America? Would be willing to serve as their manpower? Well, we know the Islamic jihadists, the Muslims. I mean, that's not me saying that. All you have to do is go on YouTube or TikTok. You can hear themselves out of their own mouth saying that America is the next target. It will be a caliphate. America will be an Islamic nation, or either by the ballot or by the bullet, was an exact quote from one of their items. So we know that those are the people that are willing to do that. Well, then the next question became, well, if they're willing, how do you get a position to do so?
Yep.
Well, you have open borders. You have the government assist getting them here. It's interesting we're talking about Afghanistan. I want to tell people the problem. Of course, you had the guardsmen that were shot in D.C. by a member from Afghanistan. And one of the programs, the amnesty programs. I mean, we brought them over. But here's what I want Americans to understand. It is a failure of policy that put us in this position to begin with. On the withdrawal from Afghanistan, of course, it was initiated and started under Trump. And what was the purpose behind that? We didn't need to be the police for the entire world. However, Trump had a very clear definition as to how we were going to handle this situation. We were going to keep Bagram Air Base, as you recall. We were going to keep a contingency of 5,000 soldiers there. And most importantly, we had sent a message 18 months prior to the Taliban. You harm the hair of an American or our assets. What are the assets? That means, the Afghanis who were staying behind as interpreters for us, etc., who had assisted us. You harm any of those, it'll be the last thing you ever remember. And you remember how it worked very well. They didn't touch an America. They didn't harm an American for 18 months.
Yep.
Then, of course, you had the debacle of the election. And, of course, I don't even like to call it an election then. That's coming out, by the way, next year. You're going to see what really happened in there. But regardless, that's water, under the bridge. And
yeah, I know.
You had a change in administration. And what does this change in administration do under Biden? Well, we're just going to get withdrawal, period. Forget anything that Trump said. We're going to do the exact opposite of. And they didn't even know how to withdraw. They took the troops out first, left Americans behind, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the key things that the Biden administration did that was so horrific was they turned over the list of the assets to the Taliban.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think the Taliban was going to do with it? Oh, now I know exactly who worked against me. Those are the first people we're going to terminate as soon as we finish taking over the country. Well, they realized, the Biden administration realized, that could be a little bit of a PR problem. So what are we going to do? Well, let's just bring them all over here. Well, the question was, how are you going to bring over 168,000? That's how many we brought, 168,000. How are you going to get 168,000 vetted? How are you going to know which ones are the ones that actually helped us and which ones didn't? We're not going to worry about all that. If a person raises their hand, I helped America, put them on a plane, bring them over. Once they get here, the CIA will then vet them all. Well, good and well, the CIA didn't vet any of them. And so we brought over 168,000. Have no idea whether they were on the Taliban side, on our side, or on nobody's side. Have no idea.
Mike,
and now you're beginning to see. You can't. It's amazing. Now you see why this movie's so going to be such a sitting on the edge of your seat, because this is all facts, but it's amazing what we're saying.
Yeah.
And so they were able to position all these terrorists across the country, and now you've seen over the last 30 days. The Imams, not just in America, but the Imams across the world, have said it's time for the terrorist cells to activate. Now, we have over 1,000 terrorist cells that we know of. Remember, that's just that we know of. Yeah. In America. And so what began to happen? Well, you had Islamic jihadists, shoot two of our National Guards members in D.C. We're going to talk about here in a second all the other ones that have been popping up, in L.A., Houston, Brown University. Remember, I said this is a worldwide edict from the Imams. You saw the terrorist attack in Sydney, Australia. They're just getting started. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, they're just warming up. You're right. And that is the crazy thing, is that they're not only just warming up, but they're also testing the waters to see I guess you could say they're testing our systems and our strategies to see what we react to and what we don't react to. And they're like, they're still asleep, man. Come on, hey, we could go ahead and take out this group of people right here. Oh, hey, we can go ahead and to your next point, the four or five folks that were arrested for making bombs out in the desert. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a group called the Turtle the Turtle Island Liberation Front. I get a kick out of that name because it just sounds like like what? Like we got some Ninja Turtles out, and you know that.
It's funny what the.
Yeah.
I mean, how they define that. The way they come up with that name is this is what they actually, this is their statement, it's not mine. As America is viewed as a large turtle with islands like Puerto Rico, other islands around it, and that the populace of this turtle is being dominated or suppressed by the turtle shell. So this turtle liberation is they're going to come in and blow the shell off the turtle of America so that the people can now be free. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? I mean, I'm going, right. Wow, boy, somebody was smoking something when they came up with that.
yes, and they're an extension of apparently of the group called Order of the Black Lotus. And I immediately thought about the old Chinese kung fu movies and stuff like that. the White Lotus, Purple Lotus. I was like just reading this article, and I was just like, man, these people are just really they got some issues. But talk to us about this anti-capitalist, anti-government extremist group. Like I said, they coordinated to make IEDs, make bombs and stuff out in the desert. They got caught red-handed in the act at that. And so,
correct.
Tell us for this particular group. Now, I'm sure the FBI is probably in the CIA and whoever else, all the law enforcement agencies. They probably already peeled back the onion, if you will, and know who else is involved, where the funding is coming from, and everything else. Do you anticipate seeing some breaking news as to these echelons of folks getting arrested and prosecuted?
Yes, I do. And let me tell you how it works so that we lay it out very simply for our listeners. We just talked about how that you had the element of the financiers that for generations that wanted to create one world war, one world government that they dominate. Now they've recruited their manpower. Mostly are the Islamic jihadists, but it's not just them. There are those who hate capitalism, okay, and who want to help overthrow our government. But the vast majority of them are Muslim Islamic extremists who are determined to overthrow our government to make us all one caliphate, one nation under Islam, is what their point is. But they're all tied in together. This is a massive operation, military operation. It is a war on America. Mm-hmm. We have to recognize that. We have to call what it is. It's a war on America. And they're using various factions, but they're all tied in together. They're all underneath the same umbrella, and they're all being coordinated. And here's what their plan is. They want small terrorist attacks, which is what we're talking about. Let's just talk about what happened in California. You had 5 individuals. They had all the necessary ingredients and the necessary instructional mind power to put together bombs. They had built them. They were taking them out to the desert to set them off to make sure that, hey, do we really know what we're doing? Do these things work? Yes, they did. Now, understand, a pipe bomb is not the same as a dirty bomb or something like that. It has a limited impact, but it has a powerful impact, but it's limited in scope.
Yeah.
So what were they going to do? They were going to take these pipe bombs and go to 5 of the locations that we've identified. We're still investigating. There may be more. When I talk about locations, big locations, Amazon distribution centers, things that they could do to not just kill American citizens, but to shut down an economic aspect, to help shut down or cause disruption within our system.
Yeah.
And of course, they got caught on that. We also had a similar one the last few days in Houston, and he was doing the similar type of technology, although his was different from what we understand in the intel we're gathering. He was going to use it as a suicide bomber. He was going to put these in the vest and go to a location, Christmas time, crowded mall, etc., and set it off and try to create as much damage as possible. So you see, but what is their purpose of the goal? And then, of course, you remember you have the Brown University. Yeah. That is definitely a tie-in with, Islamic jihadism, killing students. But what is their purpose? What's their goal behind all of this? They have decided to move forward to try to activate the sleeper cells worldwide, but especially in the United States, for one purpose: to disrupt our government. And this is what's concerning, Randy. It's not just, we'll go out there and kill one or two persons. Not that that's insignificant, but no, do some small ones here, small ones there. And we're also preparing for some major terrorist attacks that are coming, that we're aware of. The threat is there in this country. So they're unleashing everything they have. And why are they doing that? How do they expect to overthrow our government? Well, one of the key aspects is they're trying to instill fear in the American people.
Yeah.
If we get so fearful, you remember what we did in COVID? We got so fearful, the American public. Oh, whatever you say, I can't go to church. Okay, I can't go to church. I can't. Whatever you tell me to do to be safe, that's what I'm going to do to keep myself healthy. You remember that was it was a health aspect then. What they'll do this time is get you so fearful of your circumstances around you, of your safety, that you'll just say, what do we need to do to be safe? Of course, the government would love to step in and say, hey, we've got it planned. You know, it's those guns, not the person behind it, but it's that stinking gun itself. It kills people. We're going to go round them all up, and that's the first thing we're going to do to make sure we restore safety. They figure once that they get the guns rounded up, it's pretty easy from that point on to begin to dictate and control you how it goes from there, Randy. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah, you're right. There is that element there. The one thing, though, I look at, too, is it could be the opposite. They could want another civil war. The powers to be, whoever that may be, they could want another civil war. They could say, you know what, reduce the restrictions on gun ownership. Let people go out and buy guns. Matter of fact, in the United States, we can't even protect the citizens here. So if you're an American citizen and you want to go buy a gun, go at it. Go have at it. You know, arm yourself, protect yourself, do by all means necessary. Go do that. And then now you got this population of people that says, you know what, the government can't protect me. I have to protect myself. I'm going to go buy a gun. Now, I'm going to be on alert. I'm going to be suspicious of everybody and everything. And so now I'm going to start, finding like-minded people come on board with me. And now we're creating this militia. And now we're going to go out and proactively go after these sleeper cells, these groups, and these people that may be anti-American or anti-me for that matter. And we're going to take them out. And so I see that unfolding, but to that point, Brown University, that is a somewhat of a conundrum to me, but not really. The guy, as of last night, allegedly killed himself in a storage unit. But what I'm looking at is it took a whole week for the authorities to figure out who he was and all this stuff. I am willing to bet, just based on the information that was initially trickling out, they knew exactly who he was. They knew exactly his background, and they knew enough about him, but they didn't want to alert the public to say, hey, this is another jihadi, type of, this is a terrorist act.
They needed to buy some time to scrub the record.
Yes. And so they had no choice but to release it after the fact. They did. They had to do it. They had to go ahead and release who he was after the fact, after he was dead. But knowing that, hey, this is a terrorist that went into on campus, killed these people, injured so many, because the kids that were injured, they could have been actually dead, type of thing. And then he travels across the state, to another state to kill the MIT professor. Folks, that was a terrorist. Bottom line up front. No matter how you want to paint that, no matter how you want to paint that picture, the authorities covered that up and said they did not want to alarm the American people that this was a terrorist that was on the loose for a whole week, going around killing people. And so it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. Like I'm just like, what are we doing here? If he's a terrorist, say he's a terrorist. If he's an extremist or whatever the case is, put it out there. Let the people decide how they're going to handle that.
Right. I think there's digging further what you're saying. Let's take two aspects. First of all, I want to go back to what you said about creating armed conflict in the streets. Mm-hmm. That is part of the strategy of creating fear. You say, don't they contradict? No, let me tell you. You divide it into two categories. There are those that with terrorist attacks we'll become fearful. Government, what do? We're going to round up all the guns. Oh yes, I'm law-abiding here. I'll stand on the street corner and wait for you to get here to bet you your hand in mine. Mm-hmm. Then there are those who are saying no, freedom is worth fighting for, and we're going to defend what our Constitution gives us. Now the government's not sure, because you remember we have the highest armed populace in the world.
Yes.
And the government can't tell you with certainty, I know Randy owns 3 guns or 2 guns. They don't know who owns them all. Now, we have an idea because remember we put in gun registration laws, et cetera, been in there for decades. But we don't know everybody that's got one. And so it behooves the second part of the strategy, let's create some division and let these groups come out and, to try to take the law in their own hands, for lack of a better word. Now we'll know who has the guns that we were unaware of, and we can go in and deal with them head on. And now we've got everything situated. We have the law-abiding citizens who've already turned theirs in. We've forced out those who are going to oppose what we're going to do, what groups, and we'll deal with those aggressively, put those out. Now we've got full control. That's the first thing I want to comment on, as you're saying. The second comment is when it comes to the universities, what was driving this? Well, here's what they don't realize that we're going to make sure it gets out, Randy, you and I, especially on the show. Whether it's Brown University or any other higher education system, we need to do an investigation and take a look. And here's why. Mm-hmm. They got an $8 billion endowment, not million, $8 billion endowment. They charge $70,000 to $100,000 a year per student for tuition. So they've got tons of money coming in. And I'm not just talking about Brown. I'm talking about all the major higher institutions. So it became obvious with this assassination from the Islamic jihadists that these universities are not using their assets to provide protection to their students. They really don't care. I mean, whether they have surveillance cameras or not, whether they're working, whether they're not working. They're not here to protect you. So what are they here for? Where is their money coming from? I think what you're going to begin to find is a lot of these universities are taking billions, millions, billions of dollars from overseas, from Middle Eastern countries, etc. And how does that work? What is the exchange? I'll give you a bunch of money, Randy. In turn, you have to create a Middle East studies program. We will staff it with our people. Now, what does that do for us? We now get to indoctrinate all your kids. Yep. And you remember we talked about a second ago how that part of this was gathering boots on the ground or resources from the opposite side to instigate these kind of terrorist attacks when the call was called for. Mm-hmm. Well, they want to make sure, we brought a bunch of them over, but did we bring enough? Well, don't worry about trying to bring in more. Let's just train the ones we got here. Let's train this newer generation at the highest, in these higher institutions of learning. Let's train them in our philosophy so that should we need more personnel, we've already got it ready-made.
Yep.
And see, and when this begins to come out, it's going to drive people like you and I nuts, kind of like, what are we doing with our time? And we're paying for it, Randy. You and I are paying for their ability to do that. And so they're aware of that. Yep. And they're aware of that. So what are they trying to do? I'm not ready for y'all to know that just yet. So let's scrub things. Let's delay cooperation with law enforcement. Let's try to, even though at the end of the day, people are going to find out that, it is Islamic jihadists that we probably trained, that we probably educated, that are coming out. Let's not let that little trick out of the bag just yet. Yeah. But unfortunately, I think this is what I'm calling on nationwide, Randy. I think we need to have an investigation of every institution of higher learning. Where's your money coming from? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's coming from overseas. Well, that's interesting. What are they getting in return? And why are we paying for it with our tax dollars to destroy ourselves? And
you're absolutely right. That there is an abundance of money coming in from Saudi, from Oman, Qatar, especially Qatar, and Kuwait. There's that story has already been out there, but it magically got swept under the rug because this is around the time frame that President Trump was over there and they was talking about, oh, he's getting a jet from the Saudis and all this kind of stuff. It was around that time frame. Folks, go back and look at that, and you will see they actually had I think it was a Washington Post or the New York Post. They put out a story saying that these universities are getting all this money, and to your point, Michael, for Middle Eastern studies and everything else. It is not a wonder. It is not a wonder to me that these college campuses, these kids are so pro-Palestinian, pro-Middle Eastern country, given whatever day it is of the week. Either they're going to be pro-Iranian or pro-Hamas or whatever the case is. They're wearing the little kiffas and whatnot. This is what they're doing. They're coming in. They're telling these kids that, hey, you will be loyal to our country and not your own. And when the time comes and we want you to do something, you better do it, because otherwise we're going to shred your degrrie. Oh no, not my basket making, professing degree. Oh no, I would do it. That's what we're dealing with, folks. And you said,
and it's just like a military operation. I don't want to divulge where my training camps are at.
Exactly.
The same choice when I see such opposition and such pushback from the universities. They don't want to give the tip. It's going to come out, but they want it to be on their timing, not ours. Exactly. And that's why we need to go ahead and press it now.
Yeah, they're playing a long game, and a lot of us recognize this, but the problem that we're having is there's not enough people collectively that is aware of what's going on. You have these little pockets here and there. You have feeds on X. You have feeds on Truth Social talking about these things, but there's not enough of the conversation to formulate a plan on how to stop it. And that's where we're at right now, because you got your own government that's complicit with this. To your point, there's a documentary I watched a few weeks ago. I was sitting here trying to remember the name of it when you was talking. But the premise of it was the CIA trained this guy. He was from the Egyptian army, and they trained him to be a spy, be a covert operative for them and everything else. And so he was playing both sides. He ended up being a spy and working for Osama bin Laden. And he was part of the orchestration of the 9/11 attacks. So, and the CIA knew this. And they were like, well, we could bring him in and, have a talk with him and see if he can just chill out. It was like, what? Bring him in to put a bullet in his head. He was in the army and everything. It was just like, what are we doing? And so it ended up that, it was some major attack that happened, and he was a part of that. And so they were just like, all right, he's not going to cooperate with us, so let's just go ahead and take him down. So he's in prison now. But he now is an informant for them on how and what to look for out of these terrorist organizations, because he laid the blueprint down for them. And so he's trying to buy, I guess you would say, good behavior time off of his life prison sentence. It's just crazy to me. If that's just one, and that was back in the 90s and 2000s, there's no telling how many more are on the CIA roster that are doing the exact same thing, and they know this. As we saw, case in point, the guy that came down from Washington State to shoot those 2 National Guard soldiers, he was another FBI guy. So it's like, what the hell are we doing? Why?
Well, you see, what we were talking about on the Afghanistan, finishing up with that, I told you what happened when we brought them all over here. Mm-hmm. Now, had we done it the right way, the way Trump has advised, they would have had to bring any of them over here. We would have never had to bring a soul, because they would have been safe in their own country, which is where they should have stayed. Mm-hmm. But yet policy created this whole major issue. And let's delve into this a little bit further here so that our listeners understand exactly how bad off we are. I'd rather you upset you a little bit and you know the truth than to lie to you and tell you it's all going to be fine and then watch you dead in the morning.
Yeah.
Now let's take a look at what has this been done at the highest levels. Obama, you remember when he ran, I'm a Christian, I'm an American just like the rest of us. What do we find out the truth to be? Out of his own lips. He's not even an American citizen. He's a Muslim. He's part of the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, he's the president and commander-in-chief of the United States. What does he do? He appoints the director of the CIA, John Brennan, who is of his own lips, this is not me making an assumption, he has publicly declared he is an avowed Muslim, and he is taking that opportunity when he was director to engage and to set up the programs necessary for just what you just described. Now remember, he had that for 4 years. And then other people had it before him and other people after who were friends of his. Not saying they were or were not Muslim, but he definitely was. And so you can see they have used our own institutions to set them up to wage war against the American people.
Yeah.
Now we're beginning to see the repercussions of that. You say, well, you got Trump in there now. This is what I tell people. Look, let's be realistic. The president, yes, is the most powerful man in the world. He oversees the country. But he oversees probably one of the largest employment organizations in the world, the U.S. government, okay? Let's just take the FBI. When I put you in as director of the FBI, Randy, you got 38,000 people that work for you. Should I expect you to know out of all those 38,000 which ones have been supporting us and have not been supporting us, and how you're going to get them all fired by 5 o'clock this afternoon?
Right.
It doesn't work that way, Randy.
It doesn't.
And when they have been there for decades, guiding and putting together their agencies to actually work against the interests of the American people, folks, it's going to take some time to get all this resolved. So give us a little bit of patience. Yep. But at the same time, there's a difference between patience and burying your head in the sand to the problem. Yep. We need to be more vigilant than ever. And sometimes I feel like we just say, well, I can't do anything about that. We're not going to worry about it. No, we're going to need to do something about all of it. We have got to clean this off. It's just like dealing with cancer. If you've got cancer and I go in and take it out, Randy, but say, well, there's a small portion, I'm not going to worry about that. We'll deal with that later. You can be pretty much assured if I didn't get it all, it's coming back.
Coming back, exactly.
So we've got to deal with these particular issues, and the only way to deal with them is, this is why I'm so appreciative of your show, is first America has to know what really is happening. What did Obama really do? Now, here's the great thing about it, and I'm not going to share too much because we want to be careful what
absolutely
is said before it actually happens. But, we know that President Obama put together Russiagate. We know that there was subversion and insurrection and treason, an attempt to overthrow the government before Trump could actually take place. You say, is this just hyperbole? No. Tulsi Gabbard, who's our director of DNI, what is DNI? That's the agency that oversees all of our intelligence agencies. So they have access to all the records. He went through and they analyzed repeatedly, everything that's out there and found all kind of documentation, even from the White House records, showing beyond a shadow of a doubt what Obama and them were up to. She brought that to the media, sent it to the White House, sent it to the FBI, sent it to DOJ. Of course, the media didn't want to talk about it because that's not part of their narrative. The FBI says, there's a case here. But remember, the FBI can't move forward without the authorization of DOJ.
Yep.
Now, it's been interesting. You haven't heard a word out of DOJ. Now, we just assume that nothing's going to happen. But I will tell you this. There's also military tribunals. We've talked about it on your show before. And let me give you something to anticipate. We do look for in the next month, the first part of 2026 in January, very soon into January, not towards the end, that there will be indictments coming out from the president to President Obama, his vice president, which would have been Joe Biden, majority of his cabinet, which would have been John Brennan, people like that, who actually took part of this operation and the operation went so far, you remember they authorized the actual extermination of Donald Trump should they not be able to find an active way to either make him look like he was criminalized or get him impeached or get him, not even to be able to take office because he was under investigation for being a Russian colleague. But all that fell apart when it got to the point of the assassination. They were a week out before they were going to do it, and they got cold feet. They figured they couldn't pull it off. But all that's been recorded. So all this will be coming out. My point in telling you this, Randy, is this is when it's time for us to get moving forward. When this starts coming out and people understand you've had the Muslim influence to the highest land of the office of the land, helping set the stage to use those to help overthrow and overturn our government because you don't agree with the conservative philosophy that we're moving forward with. It's time, and then That we better act. We better make sure these people are held accountable and they're tried before a jury of their peers for their actions, and they're found guilty if they pay the price.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And, I look forward to that, because what I'm personally tired of seeing is, breaking news, we exposed this. It's like, okay, that's cute. That's great that you expose something, but when are you going to prosecute them? When are you going to arrest them and prosecute them? That should have been the breaking news. Not that what you exposed.
I agree.
That should have been part of the breaking news of, we arrested and we prosecuted this because we exposed them for this. That's how the story should go. Not, we exposed them. Crickets.
But you raise some very valuable points there, Randy, because it's kind of like if I tell you, here's what we know Randy's up to. Well, now it gives you the opportunity to go in there and try to change things, fix things, etc. Clean it up, try to sweep it under the rug. Whereas if I went in and knocked on the door and said, "Here's what we've got, hands behind your back, here's the cuffs," then say, "This is what we got it for," bam, then we're ready to move forward and get things done. Sometimes it makes you wonder if we're trying to do it that way to try to give them the opportunity to sweep things under the rug so they don't have to be held accountable. That'd be a horrible thing to happen.
To me, it's a Kabbalistic thing. It's a uniparty, two wings on the same bird. It's that whole thing there. That what's going on. It's like, okay, we know you're dirty, but hey, wink, wink, nod, nod. We're about to expose you, quote unquote. But go ahead and do your thing and clean up your act, and we're gonna say, well, we came to an agreement, we came to an understanding, the indictments will be dropped. And it's like, come on. No.
Right.
No, because this is...
the saddest part about that, Randy, is what does it send to the future?
Exactly.
Future justice system. That's what I was saying.
Yes, yeah.
What signal does it send to everybody else? Well, there are no consequences.
Yeah.
And look at what they get. They're not doing this for free. Look how much money they're making off of us. Look how much they're stealing. Man, I need to get it on the gravy. And then it snowballs. And that's where we're at today because we have refused to hold people accountable. And Randy, it trickles down all the way to our elementary schools, to our children. Why do you think you have such war zones, for lack of a better word, in schools now? Oh, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm going to get called in and get chewed out for a minute and then put right back in the same situation.
Yeah, exactly. And look, case in point, ladies and gentlemen, look at what's going on in Minnesota with the welfare fraud and all of that shit that's going on up there. If I was the DOJ, I'm not gonna worry about. I'm not gonna concentrate my efforts on these little Somalis that's getting arrested. No. I'm gonna make an impact statement. Governor Walsh, you're under arrest.
Exactly.
Top down. And Attorney General Ellis, you're under arrest. Top down, and then you start going for the small fish. You start with the big fish. The big fish is gonna talk. They're gonna be like, well, we gave it to them, because they're gonna try to look out for number one, and so then you can start going after all the little folks. But I would have went in and said, oh, y'all falling around laundering $1 billion worth of Governor Walsh, you're the head of all of this. This is your agencies that's doing this. You should. I know you know what's going on. Come with me, sir. And that would have been it. That would have been it. It would have been no. Oh, I'm the governor. That's cute. Tell it to the judge, and it would have been done. It would have been a done deal. But even if you would have got off, even if the judge would have said, we're gonna sweep it under the rug and we're gonna let them off and all this. Now it's exposed. Now we've done our job by arresting and putting it out there, saying, hey, now you got a corrupt, justice system with the judges, being complicit and letting them off the hook and everything else. But we did our part. We went in there and we arrested them, and we brought the charges. That's what they should be doing. But President Trump, do not call me to be your next DOJ. You ain't gonna like it, bro. You ain't gonna like it because I'll be going. Everybody be going. Gavin Newsom, come with me. Come with me, holler for a minute, bro. Let me holler for a minute, bro.
You're exactly right, and that's why I had made the point, Brandon. Is this? I mean, how do you control these activist judges who are let's not call them activists, let's call them what they are, corrupt judges. Yep. We have so much corruption in our judicial system. You say, well, don't we have a method to deal with it? Yeah. supposedly Congress is the one that has the power to impeach and to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. You think Congress is corrupt? Well, if you got any kind of common sense, you know that there's tremendous corruption, whether it's 50%, 30%, 90%, whatever it is, it's high.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think those in Congress are going to hold accountable people that for which they're doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Of course not. They're all kind of, hey, I'll cover for you, you cover for me.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to deal with this situation now is what our Constitution provides for, and that's a military tribunal for matters of national security. I can't think of anything more important to national security than a clean Congress, a clean judicial system, one that's not corrupted on either side, and quite frankly, a clean executive branch. What are you applying? Well, I think we've got some people, even maybe in this current administration, that smiled and said, "I'm with you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna back you 110%."
Yeah.
But they had other motives in mind, and it's coming out of what it appears because they're not doing anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, if to your point, Mike, Congress, they have the authority, they have the power to just defund every court, every judge, every federal judge. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Every federal judge, they get their funding directly from Congress, right? So if I was Michael Johnson, I would be like, okay, so you're going to put in this nationwide injunction, you're going to do all these things to undermine the president, right? Okay, so next week, I would suggest that you tell your staff to find new jobs because we're going to defund your court. and we're done with it. And that judge would be like, yeah, have a good day, guy. Don't worry about it. So that's what they need to be doing. Congress needs to go in and just defund these federal
right.
courts and say, hey, either you play ball and do the right thing, or you're going to be defunded and shut down. Because under the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, the only court system that's established is the Supreme Court. Everything else is an option. So these judges, these district judges, these federal judges, they are optional. They are not, constitutionally mandated at all. So they created this system of a bloated judicial system for the sake of trying to deal with cases and everything else. At the end of the day, your circuit courts, your appellate courts, they deal with the dockets. And then, if there's an issue from there, it goes to Supreme Court for an optional review. The Supreme Court reserves the right for a discretionary judicial review of lower cases. So that's how our judicial system initially was set up to work. All these other, Biden appointed, Clinton appointed, Obama appointed judges and all that, man, look, I'd be like, hey, y'all out of here. Sorry. Have a good day. Fine.
I love what you're saying, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I love what you're saying. And here's the point we have to stress. If you just started this, we were talking about a military tribunal with Obama to begin with in the first of the year. You start holding just a couple people accountable. You start going into the hall of Congress and you're just grabbing a few into the judicial system and just grabbing a few. You will see such a dramatic turnaround within a matter of 30 seconds.
Yep.
People are going to start saying, whoa, I'm going to actually have to be accountable for what I'm doing. I better, first of all, stop doing what I'm doing. The second of all, I better figure out how to fix it.
Yep.
But they're not going to do that as long as there's no accountability.
Exactly. And with that accountability comes, the idea of who else is doing this. And do I snitch on them to take the heat off of me? And so it goes both ways. And so I'm really curious as to how we're going to move forward as a country in terms of the corruption, in terms of combating, this radicalization movement that's going on right now. Because at the end of the day, the American people, they're going to start waking up. They're going to start seeing things for what it is and say, you know what? President Trump can't fix everything. He got 2 years left, at the end of the day.
Right.
So in the Congress, okay, they rotate every 2 years, so we might have, the Democrats back in power, next cycle. We need to do something. We got to figure out something here, and that's where the rat wheel is going to start turning in a lot of people's minds when they start seeing that the extremism is going to get out of control. and it's going to become, next thing you know, it's my next door neighbor just got their head blown off. Oh my God, and it's like, okay, yeah, now it's hitting home. Now you want to do something, but it's too late now. And so, I don't know, Mike, share any final thoughts you may have, sir, and tell people where they can follow you and support you.
Well, I will tell you this. Two things. On the final thoughts, don't ever think that there's no hope, that it's too late. While there's breath, there's hope. So let's unite together and see this thing through and provide victory at the end of the day. On the second aspect, go to our website. That's InVest, INVEST USA.org. It's a charity.org. Help provide support during this holiday season for our officers who need ballistic support more than they've ever needed it before. We're losing them faster than we can put them back in because of what we just talked about on this show. There is a threat against our society, against our law enforcement officers. It is actively growing, and you're going to need them to help provide the protection for our communities. We can't do it alone. We have to do it with the support of the American people. So please go to our website, again, INVEST USA, InvestUSA.org. God bless you. God bless America. And Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season.
Excellent. Awesome. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too, you and your family. Y'all be safe. Thank you for what you're doing out there in protecting our American citizens, our people, our country. Thank you for all what you're doing out there, and look forward to talking to you again soon. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I'll talk to you before then.
We'll see how let's all be in anticipation. Well, it's going to be 1 year to remember, 2026.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Mike, be safe out there. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Take care. All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, you too. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Letts with InvestUSA.org. Go there, support their organization. $5, $10, $15. $15,000, for those big ballers out there. It's Christmas time and you don't have nothing else better to do with your money. You can go ahead and do that and drop some pennies there. But also, folks, you could also support my programming, and that is the my book project. GiveSendGold.com/book project 2025. And what we're doing here is trying to get this book out, get this book published. PolarizingAmerica.com of Society. It should be hitting the shelves in April of 26, spring of 26. So get that book and throw it into an Easter basket. So, folks, it is Friday. It's the time I take to jump up out of here early and take care of some things. And I will catch you all next week sometimes. If not, Merry Christmas. And we'll catch you somewhere in between there. All right. Be safe. Ciao, ciao. God bless you all. And we'll holler at you later. I hope you enjoyed today's program. You can follow, like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Substack, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and your news. And also, you can download Let the Truth Be Told app on your favorite streaming platforms such as Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Roku. Take care. God bless.